वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः। The need to communicate comes when you have become certain of certain facts and some other person is wanting to know from you that fact. So here there is a context of an unconfirmed knowledge in one and a confirmed knowledge in another. When knowledge becomes confirmed, and which is recognized as precise, not likely to change, it is called science. And when knowledge is likely to relate to people, then there is between them a common article of understanding, and they are tied together as people supporting the same assumption of truth. In that sense, the union or bond is called a religion. In course of time in Western countries, there came a rift between religion and science, because religion became organized as a social institution, and that institution was vested with powers to control the social life of people. Where there is power, after some time it is likely to become corrupt. Where there is absolute power, there is absolute corruption too, possibility. So those who did not agree with the religion, religious authorities wanted to punish them, to alienate them, to excommunicate them. But the growing need for man to know, when it was not satisfied by religious authorities, new avenues of approaches were made, and that became known as scientific methods. And those who were evolving methods of search and certitude, not in conformity with the articles of faith in a religion, became more and more in number. the conflict between science and religion increased. So a man, to be a scientist, he had to keep himself away from religion, because otherwise he will be excommunicated, or he will be questioned by an authority of the church, and that man would say this man is under the influence of devil. Then he may be burned at the stake. Several such scientists were persecuted. People like Galileo, Bruno. So in the Western world, the scientists thought that he was pursuing a course of study which is opposed to the religious way. In India, it was never like that. First of all, there was no organized priestcraft who could dictate his terms to a community over which he was ruling. There was no such community. And so if a new way is found out, there will be followers for that also. So thus, the studies which grew in the Indian soil more or less had a scientific outlook. In science, any science, you cannot formulate a theory without delimiting the field of study and relating everything put in that field to a central principle. Thus, many are to be brought to bear their relationship with the one. It's the one and the many dialectics, in which a reduction of the many to the one became very important. In modern science, we have two versions. One is the expanding universe. The other is the contracting universe. If you take the expanding universe, where do they begin? They would begin with a big bang. Something was blasted into this universe. And from that day, whatever came out of that one is moving farther and farther, receding farther and farther. So the many is accounted for with the one that blasted. With all the stretch of our imagination, you cannot conceive that these countless millions of galaxies have all come from something which was not bigger than an orange, so to say, because one of the recent assumptions was that the original thing which had the Big Bang was not bigger than an orange. It's just like telling a fairy tale. I don't think the beginning of the opening theme of the Indian theory looks that absurd. I don't say this is absurd. I'll say our common sense wouldn't permit us to believe that this entire universe has come from something which has blasted. It's a story of the the Arabian fisherman who got a jar from the ocean, small pot, and when he opened the pot, out of it came a smoke which became a great genie, a demon. That demon was touching the sky so big. And so he wondered how from such a small pot such a big genie could come. That is the puzzle. But the Indian theory begins by saying that which transcends the visible, that which is even beyond the subtle, has slowly assumed a body. So it is not beginning with a body, it is beginning with an idea. There also we are not very comfortable because we have only seen a thing transforming into another thing, not nothing changing into something. So this is the initial difficulty to get into the Indian theory. That which has no extension in space, that which has no sequential change or movement, is postulated as the transcendent. And from the transcendent, we come to a second principle called the primeval cause. The cause and effect chain commences only after the postulation of the primeval cause. And in that primeval cause, we have to see the origin of everything that now appears as effect. This is not very difficult to know in our days. In ancient days it was difficult, because now we sit in our room and turn the knob of a television. Suddenly a voice comes, form comes, movement comes, personalities present themselves which are capable of making us laugh and cry. We cannot see what is making it manifest. We stand before a television holding a small little electronic device and press it, and suddenly the inanimate television becomes animated. We move our fingers from one button to another button. Suddenly from what was coming from one station is shut down and another station begins. So it is not beyond our comprehension now to think that the invisible can become visible, the inaudible can become audible, the non-thing can become thing, etc. Thus, the Indian theory is now closer to reality than thinking of a God sitting somewhere like a human being, having all the passions of human being, all the thoughts of human being, the Victorian prudentials of the human being, or any kind of morality which belongs to a particular cult or a group of people. So they don't ask you to believe in anything like that. They simply say there is an incomprehensible, transcendent basis that started presenting itself into a comprehensible actuality. And for that, they presented, first of all, the 5 elements. These elements are not the elements which we speak of in modern chemistry or physics. We speak of the room for extension. If anything is to be extended, we have to postulate space. So an unmanifested space is first to be looked upon as the origin. Nothing as the beginning for everything. They therefore called it Akasha. In Indian elucidations of truth, what is important is the word and its meaning. You sit there, I am sitting here, and I articulate a sound. That sound strikes you. It bursts into a meaning in you, a meaning that can provoke you, a meaning that can make you laugh, a meaning that you can make you think, ponder over, a meaning that you can take as a commandment and start ordering your life accordingly, a meaning that can give you an assurance, a consolation. All this comes from just the articulation of a word. It is just like you are standing before the television and pressing the button of the remote controller. So my word is a remote controller for you that can make you a thinker, that can make you feel, that can make you a lover, that can make you an enemy. So this first word we speak of here is Akasha. Then they give a definition. They give a word, then they give a definition. Avakasha Dhatur Akasha. Akasha is that which is lending the possibility for existence. If the chair has to exist here, there should be a space for the chair to occupy its, that means space for keeping its body there. That means space has donated that much out of itself for a chair to exist. It's called avakasha. Avakasha means a claim. The chair can claim some space. The earth can claim some space. The solar system can claim some space. An atom can claim a little space. A subatomic particle can claim a little space. Therefore, space is put as number one. And in that space, they put as number 2 something which is a little more gross than the space. It cannot be seen. It cannot be, it has no order, no shape, but it can be felt. That is air. Air is the next more gross thing, Vayu. Vayu. So Akasha, Vayu. The third thing they put there was Agni, the thermal aspect, heat, the fire can be seen. There can be the invisible heat and also the visible heat, which can be seen as a leaping flame, a conflagration. So slowly we are coming into the visible world. Then the next one, the water. And then the next one, the earth. So to make this physical universe, how these elements are put together, we have already seen. And now to see in our own body how this becomes applied. So 5 kinds of vital energies are postulated. The first one is called the samana. So here I have drawn from the mouth to the rectum, where all our inner faculties. So here say this one is marked as the place, the location for the vital breath called the samana to function. And those of us who know the body function, those of us who know the body function, we can say that from the day the child is born, the moment it comes out of the house, mouth opens, and from the mouth the mother's milk or whatever food is given has to go down, and therefore they put here when the samana is, that is a vital energy, that vital energy takes the monitoring function for a whole body to find its nutrients, and those nutrients to be converted into the different parts of the body even before the child comes outside. The child's food is going into the child through the umbilical cord. So they postulated the first function of samana and the navel, where the mother's nourishment is all getting into the child. Both the prana, that which enabling the child to have the pulsation of its heart, the circulation of blood, the oxygen content of the child's life. Everything is getting into that area. So when life has to grow with a physical body, they postulated the origin of the function of the embryonic growth by relating the child to the mother's womb through the umbilical cord, and they put here the samana, and then they have shown that whatever is received through that should be distributed to the whole body. And for that they have assigned it to the second principle called Vayu or air. Thus from Akasha to Vayu, from Samana to Vyana. And after some time the child is coming out of the mother's womb and the umbilical cord becomes cut off and a new entry is given to the child. So the mouth is there. Am I touching the mouth? Yes. The mouth is there. And so right at the throat, where the passage has the double arrangement of receiving food as well as air, the throat, see, a monitoring principle is put there, and this is called the Udana. Udana is the monitoring principle through which the food, drink, everything is passing on inside. And when once that goes inside, you see the apana, that is at the other end of the mouth is at this end, so they mark the last end, that is called the rectum. There they put the udana, which is the principle, apana, which is the principle of the jala, that is the water. Then they have put in the heart prana, on which all these are hinged. Prana is the vital breath which we are breathing in and breathing out. Breathing out is apana, breathing in is prana, and that is put at the heart center. Thus, in modern medicine, you first study the anatomy of a body. Similarly, we are also given here an anatomy which is connected with the 5 elements and the 5 vital energies. And then we are told all these functions are jointly controlled by the 5 pranas. And if you go to modern science to study how the body building is happening and what happens to food that is going into our body, we come first to the 1 and 2 aspect, that is in the mouth. When a food is put into the mouth, there should be an accompanying saliva also going along with it, and that is controlled here by the udana. And thus 1, 2, 3, these are all controlled by the udana. Udana means that which is controlling the in the principle of your throat, and it opens your mouth, and the hunger which is felt deep down is brought through making a noise. So it is the throat center which is making the noise. The child cries out. Child says, I am hungry, give me something. Oh, he opens the mouth. And when it opens the mouth, father and mother cannot stand there because the child is monstrously crying. You say they want to put something into the mouth, but not just something. And whatever is put into the mouth, then saliva and gastric juices will go along with it. I was recently making a study of Pavlovian conditioning, and he had studied everything that happens from the mouth to the rectum. Any kind of juice that has, so it is not only the customary juices which we know, but he found from the walls of the gullet, say the food passage, in the stomach, in the liver, so many places are ready to know what is going inside. So he made such experiments that the pipe which he inserted right into the stomach of the dog, and through that he sent some food so that it won't touch any part of the mouth or any part of the gullet, and it goes straight into. But as soon as it reaches the stomach, message comes to the mouth to send saliva and other gastric juices. And who sends this message? According to our theory, it is these 5 pranas which are all the times policing the entire system and enabling all these juices to go. So when once it comes here to the udana, it starts secreting, allowing, calling for carbohydrate and sugar. And when it comes here to enter into the stomach, so this udana, prana, vyana, they are all working on it. So the hydrochloric acid and the pepsin, they are called for. So the pranas are doing it. They give you orders. And then in the same area, the protein to be broken down by acid and pepsin, milk proteins to curdle. For all these, this prana has to decide what kind of function is to be done. Then it comes into the stomach itself, and when it enters into the stomach, all these things we have already given here. You can look into a modern physiology book. Then it enters into the duodenum, and where the exchange of stomach acid, alkaline bile, and the pancreatic juices, intestinal juices are all arranged. So if you study modern physiology with the ancient Indian theory of how the 5 pranas, they work together as one principle, from the embryonic study to this growth of the fetus, and from the fetus to the child, from the child up to a man, and after a man to his old age, how systematically everything is controlled by the 5 pranas. And therefore nothing unscientific about it. It is not some dogma to be believed. It is just really pure science. And what they have written 3,000, 4,000 years ago, now we are only beginning to find out and establishing it with more and more factual evidences in our modern laboratories. So you are not studying any religion here. This is only just prior to pre-science, if you want to call it like that, you can say. And after studying about the 5 pranas, we again come to 5 other smaller pranas. The smaller pranas that I told you, that there is a combination in certain aspects of one prana with some other prana. For instance, the samana and the vyana and the prana can get together to make a combination, or the apana and the prana and samana can get into another combination. Like that, there are these 5 pranas, and their function is also given here as there's a prana called naga, and its function is to make you vomit. So if naga doesn't work, you won't be able to vomit. Another is called kurma. Kurma, when it acts, you get stuttering, belching, winking. And krikala is another. And when krikala functions, you sneeze. Devadatta, when Devadatta functions, you laugh. You should really see when a man laughs, it is a holistic function, so to say. Right from the toe up to his head, the whole body gets into a convulsion. And even today I saw Krishnamurti smiled and the people laughed, so he laughed, then they laughed and he laughed, and old man could not stop laughing because, all because what? Devadatta was awake in him. The particular prana called Devadatta awake. Then Dhananjaya does not work when we are alive. It waits for us to die. And when we die, it makes our body swell up. And all the dissipation and the decay and the bad smell, everything comes, and we are taken into bits and completely taken off. So from nothing we come to something called this body, and finally Dhananjaya makes it go back into nothing. And that is how the whole manifestation is explained. Now, we said the invisible becomes visible. But there has to be some scheme by which the invisible can become visible. The total, when it manifests as a finite, the law of the infinite should still remain working in the finite. So you cannot account for anything in the finite without thinking of one whole truth manifesting, one whole law expressing itself, one whole plan of work, one whole biologic reality, one whole chemical reality, one whole physical reality, like that. So people like Jung, they have been speaking about a collective unconscious. But the Indian is not speaking of a collective unconscious. It is not just an unconscious. It is a universal principle of manifestation. The universal principle of manifestation they call Ishvara. In one way we can say God and Ishvara are the same, but truly not so. Ishvara means the innate principle of control. the innate law of manifestation, the underlying reality of everything that is becoming manifested and unmanifested. That is called Ishvara. So it is actually a collective consciousness than a collective unconscious. A universal and collective consciousness, but consciousness not in the sense of an overt consciousness, but the consciousness which is the ground of all consciousness. That is how we should take it, called Ishvara. And that Ishvara, three names are given to it. One name is that it is the Hiranyagarbha. We think of, say, in the International Bank of Settlement, they say one American dollar is equal to 2 Singapore dollar, and it is equivalent to 1/3 of a pound, etc. And this tariff is decided on the gold value. Gold in Sanskrit is called Hiranyam. Garbha means that which is pregnant. So the pregnant gold means a pregnant value. And God is the value which is pregnant in anything which is adorable, in anything which you consider worth possessing, worth looking for, craving, aspiring for. So in this world, whatever value is there, however insignificant it is called Hiranyagarbha. God is manifesting in a thing just as the beauty of a flower, its aroma, its honey, its delicateness. These are all garbhidam. These are all the pregnated values in it, impregnant values, called Hiranyagarbham. And then it is also called the Sutra Atma. Sutra Atma means I am sitting here and talking and you are all listening. Like a thread which is going through all of you, the one and the single self is manifesting, and by putting something at this end of the thread, you also get it, another also get it, and thus to the very end of the world, all beings are tied with this golden thread. So that is called the Sutra Atma. So Ishvara, that's why people say there is only one God. It is that one God which is going as thread in through all of us. And in the Bhagavad Gita we read, Krishna says, I am that thread on which all these beings are strung as beads. Sutre Manigana Iva. I am the Sutra. I am that golden thread. So it's called Sutratma. I said that in Sanskrit or in the Indian theories, everything goes by a word, and the word meaning. So by looking at the word, you will find it is not a person. It is a cryptic word. As Indians are also poets, they have personified. If you ask Sutratma, that also they may draw a picture and show you. They may give a poetic description to it. But that has made it silly also. I say the Indians have hundreds of caricature gods or cartoon gods, and they are even willing to worship a cartoon god. Although it's only a cartoon, a caricature, it's only a mental assumption which they have personified. So if you want to make it really sensible to you, you should reconvert it into the original intention of the author who has coined a certain word and named it. So one more is called as Mahaprana. So it is the Sutratma or Hiranyagarbha. It is the Mahaprana, because we have seen here that you have taken a potato or fish or meat or rice or wheat, but when it goes into your system, some part of your body is needing some phosphorus, some other part is needing iron, some other part is needing something else. And in your stomach, when it is entering into the stomach, from the duodenum it goes into the small intestine. All these are pulverized and the various liquids are coming, and then an arrangement is made for the nutrients to be segregated from the foodstuff, put it into the liver or through the blood, send it to the place where you need it, and therefore we know that the pranas is doing the mighty job of building a whole person, not only in one person, in all the persons, including a caterpillar which is going to become a butterfly, or a larvae which is becoming into a state to become a mosquito, or a mushroom coming out of a tree. In everything this is happening. It is not just in the man alone the 5 pranas are operating, but according to the body system, the placement of it and the mode of operation, they all vary, that is all. But the basic system is the same. And it is by giving this briefing that we are taken to the next stage of the Advaita Chinta Paddhati of Chattambi Swamy. So an old man who did not go to any college or any university, he did not study physics or physiology, but all these informations are at the tip of his tongue, at the tip of his pen. It is amazing to read some of his works. Even though he personally did not study science or politics or economics or literature or linguistics, he had professors from the university coming to him to sit at his feet and talk to him, and he put searching questions to all of them, and where they were fumbling, he could give their own theories back to them in a more cryptic, in a more clear manner. So this is a cardinal Indian belief, that you, by purifying your own system, by attuning yourself to the universal, the universe becomes transparent to you. Simple things like, say you see you have an urgent thing for which you are about to go out, the rain is coming. Then you say, please, after a little while, please, not now. Oh, one may think you are really mad to do such a thing. How can you stop a cloud from raining? But if you think that you and this universe are one, you can get into a friendlier relationship with the whole universe. Then your psychological life and the cosmological life gets a link between them. It is transparent to you. This is not a miracle. This is not anything supernatural. That you can spread yourself out. So today I was listening to Krishnamurti's talk. Then I thought, suppose you borrow a few words from, say, the philosophy of Chattambi Swamy or Narayana Guru. Then you don't have to beat your head against hard walls as a lost person. It gives you immediate answers. So today he will ask a question. What is action? What is action? You may give a whole talk on action, but just look at the word. It's called karma. The root is kra. Ka and ra always means what? It's a question. There is seeking joy. What is action? Seeking. Any action is dissatisfied with the present situation. You want to alter the situation. See, altering the situation is karma, action. And that's a meaning which is directly given by the world. And then he comes to this idea that action is prompted by the desire for order. There is order, I want to put order into it. What is order in Sanskrit? Karma. Just as karma, karma, here it is, order is karma. Again, that is, you are putting something, changing something, restructuring something for making position happy. Happy karma. Karma, how in your karma, the structure precise, so fun can be exact. Making an exact restructure so that intensive coming manifest as a fun. Like we are a simple into qualities of an manifestation. That is what calls the chinda. And as I have taken from the modern, can easily share with what is his key. Modern book or just enter its in literature. People such study minds and these of ownership so that have a new literature and called understand. So disciplinary will be full to stop there. Om Namudate Purnya Purnaya Purmeva Shish Om Shanti Shanti Shanti